Hello everybody and welcome to bike ride number 5, Alexei Sayle's lockdown bike ride number 5. I'm going to go west today. I don't know where I'm going, but then who of us does? So we're riding west. It's one of the many road obstructions, but oddly enough there isn't a set of random traffic lights. That means that the traffic is heading straight for us. I approve of that. That's fine. Many road digger upperages, many road blockages, many low traffic networks. Actually, I don't know where, particularly if you go through Islington, Camden, the roads have been blocked off by these pop-up bike schemes, pop-up road blockages, and particularly I think right-wing Labour councils love these schemes because it allows them to pretend that they're doing stuff for the environment. It's authoritarian and top down, and nobody's consulted, and it's driving people nuts. We just passed the People's Supermarket. I think that's the only sort of cooperative supermarket on the American model that there is in London. This is Lamb's Conduit Street. It's a sort of before lockdown. It was a kind of younger version of Savile Row. A lot of fashion houses were moving here, and at the moment, of course, everything is in suspension. But you can see there's various tailors, shops, fancy clothing stores. Sometimes this is obviously a very strange time, and sometimes I go on my bike to our local shopping precinct, the Brunswick, and the only other people in there more or less are Deliveroo riders, and they kind of give me a nod as if I am one of them. I've particularly fallen on hard times. I like that. I like that they think that I'm a kind of sad Deliveroo rider. Some kind of washed up, probably an ex-professor, philosophy professor or something, who's now being forced, probably, I don't know, some kind of misdemeanor, possibly sexual, has been fired from his job and is now delivering fucking chickens for a living. I need to get one of them bags though. I need to get one of those Deliveroo bags, and then that'll be perfect. I will masquerade as a Deliveroo rider, and they'll nod at me, say hello, feel sorry for me, but I'll be part of something. I'll feel like I'm part of a group, a gang. Now this is Red Lion Street, and this, again before lockdown, and presumably when the lockdown ends, was turned into a kind of mini Chinatown. There are many Korean and regional Chinese restaurants along here. Remarkable, the many changes that are going on in London. We're going on, and again are entirely suspended at the moment, really. But this is I used to say about when you gave, Liverpool was really horribly, badly redeveloped in the 60s, and the heart was torn out of it. And I used to say, if you gave somebody a tour of Liverpool, then what you were talking about was, you say, well, this used to be here and this used to be there, and you'd kind of talk about various absences. This was a kind of Greek temple where airships used to tie up. It served as an oyster bar. But the same is true now of London, that constantly what you're talking about when you ride around London is pointing out is where things used to be, or where things may be in the future but are not at the moment. Okay, this is Lincoln's Inn Fields. This is the edge of the legal district, of course. I don't know what that is. Coffee stall of some kind. Enterprising, people having coffee. These are the local, and these lights, these are actually gas lights. This part of London, the Inns of Court, actually has gas lights. Can you imagine that? And so it's one of them things where to do something so antique, and twacky as they used to call it in Liverpool, to do something so antique, you have to be phenomenally rich. So they've got their own, the Inns of Courts have their own gas lights and their own gas lighter who comes round and lights them every morning. And that is why if you get sued, it will cost you tens and tens of thousands of pounds. So these fucking people can have their own fucking content gas lights. I might go around the square one more time, because at the northern edge of Lincoln's Inn Field, of course, is the Sir John Soane Museum. John Soane was a collector and architect. I think designed the Bank of England. But he also had this house, which is now a museum, which is just full of stuff which, was essentially stolen from the rest of the world, as we now see it, as we now have started to see it. And it's a very beautiful square. I was watching a movie, which was filmed inside the Sir John Soane Museum, where they started smashing. They were looking for it was Terminator's Dark of Night. That's right. And for some, I don't know, one of the female characters here, her aunties live in the Sir John Soane Museum, and then she comes in with Mark Wahlberg, and they start smashing shit, looking for clues for some to do with the Decepticons, the Autobots, or whatever they're called. But you can learn a lot from Transformers movies. Tell us a lot about the world. Dick. Alright, let's we'll go south. We won't go around the square again. We'll go south, and that straight ahead is the back of the Inns of Court. I think that's where civil cases get heard. I say I was once sued for libel, and I said it would have been cheaper if I'd stabbed the cunt. I won in the end, but it was a unpleasant experience. I don't recognise these brand new buildings here. No doubt some to do. And this is, if you want a wig, you want to get your wiggage and your robage. There are various places here. Oh, horses, police horses, City of London, police horses. We get through here? Damn bell yard. Let's have a go. Maybe not. No, it's a virus. We can get up on the pavement and get past this. All these vans parked here. Let's give it a go, shall we? We're on a bicycle. We can't be stopped. We mustn't be stopped. Bicycles. Bicycles. Bicycles must get through. We're like the Texas Rangers or the US Postal Service. This is strangely abandoned. I guess because there's building works going on or something. This is a bizarrely abandoned little nook. I'm even less prepared for this than usual, really. I had no idea where I was going to go, no idea what I want to say. But then I think that's the kind of rambling Zen nature of. I've actually been he's probably a judge, a bloke. We're on Fleet Street now. Turning going west. I've been writing my radio series, The Absence of Normal, which is scheduled for transmission on Radio 4 in March. And one of the things I've been writing about is the Situationists. I was actually in Paris in 1968. I was far too young. I don't know why my mum let me go, but anyway, I was in Paris during the Les Événements, the riots and so on of 1968. And one of the interesting things that grew out of that was, well, they were all there already, really. But there's a group of Marxist surrealists called the Situationists, and one of their slogan was that was beneath the pavement, the beach. And one of the things they were concerned with was reclaiming the city. Because they were really interested in how cultural matters really are appropriated by what part culture plays in revolutionary struggles. Something that's often ignored, really. Anyway, so they propounded this idea of reclaiming the city by wandering. And the character that they admired was what's called the flaneur, the person who wanders the city without purpose or direction, and in so doing makes discoveries. They're not on a pre-programmed tour. They are just wandering the cities, and they're wandering the dark corners, the alleyways, the ignored aspects of the city, and in so doing they reappropriate the city. That's the idea, anyway. So this is similar. This is what they call the dérivé, the drift, and this is a bicycle version of the drift, the dérivé. Chances are I'm in the wrong place. There's a lot of shit going on here. This is a kind of bicycle version of that we are purpose drifting with no purpose to illuminate and reclaim the city and possibly get run over in the bargain. A lot of police around. I wonder whether it's something to do with the political situation in India. We've heard very little about it, but of course, the massive protests in India. Farmers are protesting at basically the Indian government's, the Modi government of Hindu nationalists, trying to steal their land off them. Alright, so here we are again. This used to be this, and this used to be that, and when this opens this will be that, and Simpsons in the Strand, Salieri restaurant. Heading west now along the Strand, the Savoy, the only place in Britain where you drive on the right. And you know, extraordinary. You know, what day is it? I don't know, Tuesday or a Wednesday? Tuesday in January. Look, it's extraordinary how empty these streets are. Not completely devoid of traffic, but getting there. Been some changes. Used to be a Yates's Wine Lodge on the Strand years ago, for those of you from the north. Long gone, but nevertheless was there. This Pepper Potts building by Inigo Jones, one of the first buildings where they kind of kept the facade and then rebuilt a modern building behind it. And originally they were going to completely demolish it, but they kept the facade and put a modern building behind it. And it looks shit, really, but I suppose slightly better. A couple of drunks or junkies kissing. Always a lovely sight. And we are now heading towards Trafalgar Square. Trafalgar Square. I've given speeches occasionally. I'm asked to speak at demonstrations, mostly to do with Palestine, and occasionally I do. I have spoken at Trafalgar Square, but people, when you give a speech, a political speech, what people want is certainty. And of course I don't do certainty, I do kind of irony, and so I remember giving a speech during one of Israel's murderous massacres in Gaza, and there's people in the audience go, "We are Hezbollah, we are Hezbollah." And I gave a speech in which I said that Palestine would be free when they had their own entrance in the Eurovision Song Contest, as Israel has its own entrance in the Eurovision Song Contest, even though obviously it's not in Europe. And so I made a speech, and now, we'd know Palestine was free when there was a group singing "Bing Bong, Binga Bonga Bong" from Palestine, and people didn't really like it at all. I just confused them, they knew I was on their side, so they were happy, but really it was not what was called for. So that was probably the last time I spoke at Trafalgar Square, but still, it was nice, I'm shit at that kind of thing. See me giving clear hand signals there, saying thank you to that guy in the Mercedes. Always worth doing, people. Don't know if it was a guy in a Mercedes, it was a Mercedes. And through Admiralty Arch, which has been refabulated as Swanky Flats, speeding up because there's a taxi behind me. I don't want to hold him up. Here we are, Buckingham Palace, the mall. That used to be a place you went all the time, the ICA, the Mall Gallery is the ICA. never out of there in the 60s and the 70s, and then I think it's still going, but I don't know what the hell's going on. I think never anything you would want to see there. Now, went through a red light, but it's here. It's an act of anti-imperialism. Some people dancing on the steps there. Choreographer, film crew, sort of thing you're seeing. I came for a walk in this park the other day, and I sat down on a bench, and I thought I turned into St. Francis of Assisi, because suddenly like a squirrel came and sat at my feet looking up at me, and then a pigeon came over, and then a goose. And I thought, my God, I've turned into St. Francis of Assisi. All the animals of the world are coming to sit at my feet, and I don't know, wait for wisdom to be. I don't know, did the animals give St. Francis of Assisi wisdom, or did he give them wisdom? I'm not sure. I'm a bit vague on Christian myths. Anyway, so it was all these animals clustered around my feet, and then the person I was talking to on the phone said they just think you're going to feed them. So that was that, really. They weren't vibing off some Holy Spirit I was giving off. They just thought they were going to get food, which is kind of mercenary of them, isn't it, really? So we're having some kind of interaction. It's a horrible building, Buckingham Palace, I think. There's at its core, I think there's an earlier 18th century building, but this was rebuilt in, I think, the early 20th century by an architect called Aston Webb, who also did Regent Street, and Regent Street's much more successful, I think. Kind of, I don't know what you call this style, but Buckingham Palace is a horrible building, although perhaps it's in the sense that it is the symbol of 1,000 years of class oppression. It's appropriate that it's horrible, because what it represents is horrible. The grinding of the faces of the poor into the mud. And if you look at it like that, then yeah, it's perfect, really. Film crew there, by the looks of it. So that's what we call a three-way. I don't know if you can see that last caravan there. Is that three-way, two-way? It's when you get when you're acting on a film, you get like this little, depending on your status, you get like a little radio, a little railway compartment with a couch in to sit in for a dressing room. Obviously, the more important you are, when you're a big star in a movie, you get your own trailer. Generally, with me, it's been three-way or a two-way. I'm not being humble. I mean, I have been provided with substantial dressing roomage, mobile dressing roomage, but I don't know that. But certainly on a movie, I've never had my own trailer. There's one of my fellow Deliveroo riders there. I think, the standard isn't there, isn't it? So, royal family, I think they're at Windsor or something, aren't they? Sitting out. And then many other fucking castles. Guards, barracks, household, cavalry, guards, some shit like that. One of the many guards regiment barracks around here. And that is the back of it's not a home office, one that we are soon to come to, I think we're running parallel with Whitehall now. We'll soon be round the back of Downing Street, where Jeremy Corbyn could have been if it wasn't for the treachery of his own MPs in the right wing of the Labour Party. So on that note, I will finish this leg of the journey. This is Alexei Sayle, lockdown bike ride number 5, brackets, slightly disappointing I think, but you know, maybe you'll get something out of it.